Today, the topic of our lecture is on the fatty liver. And in this lecture, we shall be mainly focusing on this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, because in one of the previous lectures, we have already discussed details about the alcoholic liver disease. So before coming to details of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, just let me give you an overview of the fatty liver. So what do you understand from fatty liver? Right from the word only you can understand. Fatty liver, it means the deposition of excess amount of fat in the liver cells, the deposition of excess amount of the triglycerides, okay, so in the liver cells, right? So remember, in the liver, the normal concentration of lipids in the liver is around 5%. This is the normal. And then it exceeds this. So what will happen in this fatty liver? What happens? These droplets of these triacyl glycerols, they are found in the entire cytoplasm of the hepatic cells. In these hepatic cells, we'll have the deposition of these triacyl glycerols. Okay, and what happens as a result of this fat deposition, which is not normal, like normally the liver, it is not a storage organ for fat. Okay, so the normal concentration is less than, or it is around 5%. So what happens when there is excess amount of fat, triacyl glycerol and triglycerides, this deposition in the liver cells, there is a impairment in the metabolic functions of the liver. Okay, there will be impairment in the metabolic functions of the liver, right? And then gradually there'll be fibrosis, there'll be cirrhosis, there'll be inflammation in the liver. Okay, so there'll be steatosis, steatohepatitis, okay, cirrhosis. So these are the different problems which starts occurring in the liver. So remember, there are many different causes for this fatty liver. Like one of the causes is alcohol intake. Next is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which we shall be discussing in details today. What are the causes of it? And there are some other causes also, which we don't include under this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. In these other causes, we have got certain situations like certain drugs. Okay, there are certain drugs which can cause non-fatty liver. Okay, so like you have got your glucocorticoids. These will come under the other causes. These causes won't come under non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Okay, so you have got drugs like glucocorticoids, and there are many drugs. In fact, you have got drugs like aspirin, methotrexate, tamoxifen, okay, amiodarone, zidovudin. Like this, there are many drugs which can cause fatty liver, right? What else? Yes, there can be some other causes also, like malnutrition. Okay, so protein calorie malnutrition, or if there is rapid weight loss. Okay, so first, these under other causes, you have got drugs. Okay, so then you have got other causes. Just leave this one. Okay, so then you have got the other causes. Under the other causes, sorry, I just told you about the drugs, and others you have got nutritional causes. Just now I told you protein calorie malnutrition. Okay, and I told you if there is rapid weight loss, okay, or there's rapid weight gain. What else? Metabolic causes. Okay, so like in pregnancy, the acute fatty liver of pregnancy, okay, or diabetes. Then you have got some other miscellaneous causes also, like you have got inflammatory bowel disease. Okay, then HIV infection, obstructive sleep apnea, okay, chronic hepatitis C. Okay, so there are some other causes also of the miscellaneous causes of fatty liver. So anyhow, here we shall be mainly focusing on this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Okay, so what is the main cause of this? From the name only you can understand that this fatty liver disease is not because of the intake of alcohol, right? So this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease has got different causes, which I shall tell you. But first remember, this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, it is mainly categorized into two broad categories. One is, okay, it is categorized into two broad categories. That is, one is your simple fatty liver. Okay, just there is deposition of fat in the liver, simple fatty liver, which we also say it as non-alcoholic steatosis. And the other is going to be the non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Okay, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. What is the difference between these two is that simple fatty liver, here just there is deposition of fat in the liver. So the function, some of the functions of the liver is deranged. You'll get an abnormal LFT and all. But in this steatohepatitis, because of this fat deposition that has also started occurring, the inflammation in the liver. Okay, this steatohepatitis, this often progresses to, here in this case, there occurs fibrosis, cirrhosis of the liver. Okay, so it is mainly divided into these two broad categories. One is simple fatty liver or non-alcoholic steatosis. And when there occurs inflammation, then that we say it as non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Okay, usually this simple fatty liver has got a favorable outcome if it is treated early. But non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, this is usually progressive in nature. Just now, as I told you, it progresses to fibrosis, cirrhosis. Okay. So let us see what are the causes. What is the etiology? What is the cause of this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? Okay. So next, let us come, as I told you, let us talk about the different causes. So in the different causes, these are different causes I have written down, out of which the most important causes is mainly this insulin resistance and hyperlipidemia. Okay. So these two are the most important causes. So just as I told you, if the patient is overweight, obese, okay, so if the patient has developed insulin resistance, hyperinsulinemia, okay, or if there are excess amount of, lipids like triglycerides, cholesterol, okay, so there is hyperlipidemia, okay, or metabolic syndrome. All know what are the conditions which occur in this metabolic syndrome. Okay, so what does metabolic syndrome include? It mainly includes high blood sugar, excess body fat around the waist, okay, increased blood pressure, abnormal cholesterol or triglyceride levels, right? So this is the etiology, these are the causes of non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. And the most important, as I told you, it is your insulin resistance and hyperinsulinemia and hyperlipidemia, right? And other risk factors, these will be your obesity, okay, and metabolic syndrome, right? Type 2 diabetes mellitus. Okay, type 2 diabetes mellitus. So these will all come under the important risk factors. So what happens if the patient develops insulin resistance, or if the patient has developed hyperinsulinemia, like this excess of insulin in circulation? But that insulin, what happens in insulin resistance? There is the presence of adequate insulin in circulation, but it is not able to perform its function, isn't it? Insulin is not able to perform its function. The body cells, they have become resistant to insulin, right? So it is insulin resistance, isn't it? So insulin, adequate amount of insulin is present, but still the patient has got, high blood sugar. This is because the body cells, they have developed resistance to insulin. Okay, so let us see what happens here. In this case, what happens due to insulin resistance and hyperinsulinemia? So because of this insulin resistance, what happens is that there is increased adipocyte lipolysis. What happens, the fat that is mainly stored where? It is mainly stored in the adipocytes. Isn't it? The fat is mainly stored in the adipocytes. So what happens is increased amount of, the breakdown of this fat, this is in stored form. But what happens, there occurs lipolysis. Okay, this increased lipolysis is caused by this insulin resistance and hyperinsulinemia. Okay, that causes increased amount of lipolysis from the adipocytes. So what will happen if there is increased amount of lipolysis? There will be increased amount of free fatty acids in the circulation. Okay, and this increased amount of free fatty acids, it will be taken up by whom? It is going to be taken up by the hepatocytes, by these liver cells. Clear? So it is going to be taken up by the liver from the fat. Okay, so these increased free fatty acids are going to be taken up by the liver, and there will be deposition of these fats in the hepatocytes, causing again the derangement in the metabolic pathways. Okay, and it will cause non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Clear? So what are the symptoms, the symptoms, what are the symptoms the patient presents to us with? So most of the patients usually in this simple fatty liver, most of them, they don't have any symptoms. They just have a few symptoms like fatigue, malaise, okay, a sensation of fullness in the upper abdomen, right? So In fact, in most of the patients, you know, the only sign which you are going to get in most of the patients is hepatomegaly. Okay, so hepatomegaly is the most common sign, which you, in fact, sometimes the only sign which you get in most of the patients. So most of the patients don't have as such very prominent symptoms. Just they complain of fatigue, malaise, and because of this hepatomegaly, they'll feel a sensation of fullness in the upper abdomen, right? So as I had told you in the beginning only, that the simple fatty liver, steatosis, NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, is mainly classified into two types: simple fatty liver and non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. And as discussed earlier, as I told you, that this simple fatty liver, it has got a more benign course. Okay, so whereas these patients, they usually develop fibrosis, cirrhosis, and if they develop cirrhosis, and that can also progress to hepatocellular carcinoma also. Clear? Okay. So this is all about your the details about your NAFLD. Okay, so next let us come to the investigations. So what are the investigations which you are going to do? Obviously, the first investigation which you do in any, when you are suspecting any liver disease, is obviously the liver function tests. So yes, there will be a derangement in the liver function tests. Clear? So what is the derangement you are going to find in this liver function test? So you will find an elevation in ALT and AST. And remember one thing, this ratio of AST is to ALT is less than 1. Okay, so this ratio of AST is to ALT is less than 1. This is important. And this ratio, it increases as slowly the patient starts developing inflammation and fibrosis and all. This ratio also will keep on increasing. Right? So what other in lab investigations are we going to do? Ferritin levels. Okay, so ferritin, it's an acute phase reactant. Okay, so this acute phase reactant, this is also increased in around 20 to 50% of the patients. What else do we see? In certain cases, not in all the cases, there will be an elevation of certain autoantibodies. Okay, so like your anti-nuclear, so anti-nuclear antibodies, or you have got your anti-smooth muscle antibodies. So again, this is not elevated in all the patients. It is elevated in nearly 25% of the patients. And if this is elevated, this is associated with more advanced fibrosis. Okay. Okay. Next, what else do we go for? And first we do all these investigations, then we go for the ultrasonography. In the ultrasonography, this will show an increase in the echogenicity. The echogenicity will increase in the echogenicity when we compare it with the other organs. To be more specific, we go for CT scan. In the CT scan, we can see this fatty infiltration. Okay. And even more sensitive is your MRI. Clear? So, and amongst, after this also, if you want to be more sensitive and more specific, okay, if you want to get a proper the prognostic information important, like clearly you can see that if you want to get a clear idea about the extent of fibrosis, okay, how much fibrosis has occurred in the liver, the stage of fibrosis, the most sensitive diagnosis is your liver biopsy. So liver biopsy is the best diagnostic tool for confirming fatty liver disease, because it gives, it helps in, distinguishing this steatosis. I had told you, two broad categories. One is your simple fatty liver, which we call as steatosis. Another is steatohepatitis. So this differentiation can be best done by the liver biopsy. Clear? So these are the different investigations which you are going to do when you suspect a patient of NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Then last, let us come to the treatment. Although the treatment, we don't have any specific drug. We mainly look at the cause and we try to eliminate the cause which is causing this particular thing. Okay, so first, if the patient is obese, you will tell the patient to control his weight. If the patient is diabetic, Okay, control of diabetes by taking proper medications, right? If the patient has got high levels of cholesterol and triglycerides, we'll try to control by giving statins, okay, or triglycerides, we can give fibrates. Okay, so by giving proper drugs, we'll also control hyperlipidemia. Clear? And what else can we give? Apart from that, as I told you, hyperlipidemia, you can give statins, atorvastatins. Diabetes control, you can give drugs like metformin. Okay, and again, as I told you, insulin resistance. In insulin resistance, if the patient, type 2 diabetes, that the patients who develop type 2 diabetes is mainly because of this insulin resistance. And to overcome insulin resistance, the most common drugs which are called as insulin sensitizers, they are mainly a metformin. Okay, and you have got your pioglitazone. So these drugs are given when we doubt insulin resistance. Okay, vitamin E, that is also not very much not very much proved, but it has shown some promise. Okay, so in treatment of this NFLD, so these are the main treatment. Okay, just try to control the cause, eliminate the cause. Okay, and give the proper medications for these conditions. Clear? So this is all about your non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So as I told you, the causes. Okay, I told you the two main broad categories, right? I told you the symptoms, the lab investigations, and the treatment. So as I told you, what is the prognosis also, that simple fatty liver, it has got a favorable outcome. But if there's already development of inflammation and, like there is the development of the steatohepatitis, okay, there is already the development of inflammation. Okay, so, and there is development of fibrosis. So that mainly has got a progressive course from inflammation to fibrosis to cirrhosis. Sometimes it can also go to the patient can also develop hepatocellular carcinoma. Okay, so this is all about your non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.